What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. I know I was gone for a while, but I'm back. And I want to give a shout out to Alan for his donation to the channel. Thank you, Alan. And like me, you're getting old as dirt, and you would like the Chicago Bulls to get back on a winning track, become a playoff contender before we both uh, get too long in the tooth. But the way things are going, we're both going to look like Grady and Fred from Sanford and Son by the time that happens. And if anybody else who want to donate to this channel, show love to the channel, you can do so in the links provided in the description box. Now, let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. It pretty much was just two contenders this entire season for the league MVP. For a while, I would say mid-season, it looked like it might be James Harden. If you're a guy who is fascinated by offense and explosive offensive numbers and whatnot, then you would believe that maybe Giannis should have won it. But I think a good comparison would be the 1986-87 season. Now, the Chicago Bulls only won 40 games that year, but you have to remember that before that, just 2 years prior, well, 3 years prior, the Bulls had only won 27 games. That's the year Jordan averaged 37 points per game. Of course, he didn't win league MVP. The MVP that year went to Magic Johnson. And although the Houston Rockets did win a lot of games this year, I think they won like 54 games, if I'm not mistaken. That was 11 fewer than they won the year before that. Well, I think they were a more balanced team and a stronger team overall. And I think that did factor into why James Harden received fewer first-place votes than Antetokounmpo. I think he got 23 first-place votes compared to Giannis's 78. And I think Giannis had a point. He was very emotional when he received his award. I think a lot of it isn't just statistics, but it's about winning. And although I don't agree with everything Charles Barkley says, one thing that he does say is correct. And I've said this numerous times on my channel. Oftentimes, the MVP, especially in the last 40 years, the league MVP is often the best player on the team with the best record in the NBA, or one of the best records. That's how the league MVP has been chopped up recently. Um, you think about it, the best teams in the 80s were the Celtics and the Lakers. And during that decade, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson won 7 of the 10 league MVPs. And, well, actually, I think it was 6 of the 10 league MVPs. Kareem won, I think, 1 in 80. So the point is, the best team in the 90s, of course, were the Bulls. Magic. Michael won, I think, what, 4 of his MVPs in the 90s? Yeah, so that's often the case. And what the Milwaukee Bucks were able to do this season was, first of all, to some people out of the blue, they weren't expecting Milwaukee to make this drastic jump. But I saw very early on, as well as 70 Sports TV, that this was a different team. All right. And they had the right pieces around Giannis. I guess you could say that Mike Budenholzer and the Milwaukee Bucks overall, they modernized this team to fit into today's NBA. Um, and but it started with Giannis. And Giannis had an MVP caliber season, putting up over 27 points, I think, close to 13 rebounds and close to 6 assists. All right, I think he's the first 20 and 10 guy to lead his team to the best record since Shaquille O'Neal in 99-2000 when Shaq won his only league MVP, which I think is a travesty. Shaq should have won at least 3 MVPs in his career. At least 3. Honestly, I think Shaq should have won the MVP again in 2001 over Allen Iverson. And I know that's not a popular opinion to say, but I think he should have won it again in 2001. But I can see why AI won it. And, of course, with Giannis Antetokounmpo, a lot of people who were not sold on him. Talked about his limitations, of course, his lack of footwork in the paint, his lack of finesse and technicality as far as moves in the paint, the fact he tends to face up so much as far as scoring is concerned for a post player, and the fact that the biggest, I guess, knock on him is that he doesn't have a consistent jump shot. And he doesn't. But I do see some signs of improvement on it. A couple of years ago, if Giannis shot a three-pointer, more likely than not, it was going to be an air ball. Now, even if it's an air ball, it's sort of right on, and he's about a 30% three-point shooter. Is he ever going to be Dale Ellis or Sam Perkins, at least? No. But I think he gets a point where he can knock it down on a somewhat consistent level. As far as his jump shooting, as Town Business said, this guy's never going to be Kevin Durant. He's never going to be Dirk Nowitzki. Okay? Hell, he's never going to be Detlef Shrimp. He's not going to be a guy who's going to be knocking down jumpers all over the court and shit. All I think he needs is a decent, I'd say 12 to 15 foot jumper. If he could develop something like that, because I just don't see him improving that drastically with his jump shooting. It would have happened already. But if he can get to the point where he can just knock down a shot of that range, it would change his game so much. It would make things so easy for him offensively. And it would totally change the dynamics of the Milwaukee Bucks. It would make them, in some ways, like the Golden State Warriors. And I say this in the fact that you see how the defense with Toronto Raptors was able to just load up on him like that? Although I do say I don't understand why some of the other players weren't cutting to the basket when you have a guy like Giannis who could pass the way he does. Um, Very good passer. But they were able to load up on him like that because basically he scores by barging in the paint. If he was able to be a little bit more multifaceted, then that becomes a liability to have so many guys scheming on him like that. And also, he has to learn how to make better decisions in certain situations. There's no way, as great a player as he is, he's going to score on any type of consistent basis with two and three guys scheming on him like that. It's not going to work. So, in that instance, his teammates have to step up, and he has to make better decisions. But I'm not going to be critical on Giannis Antetokounmpo because, number one, he's only 24 years old. Doesn't turn 25 until December. And he's basically a kid by NBA standards. He's one of the youngest MVPs in the history of the NBA. I think only Derrick Rose and LeBron James were younger. Derrick Rose being the youngest NBA MVP. I think Scorpio told me this, and I think it's true. The youngest MVP in pro basketball history is Spencer Haywood, I believe, who was only 21 years old when he won the MVP. I think it was the 69-70 season for the ABA. I think it was that season. And I think the team was the Seattle Nuggets. But he's young. I remember when Kobe Bryant, back in 1997, was playing the Utah Jazz. And Kobe Bryant shot 3 consecutive air balls. He missed the first one. Shot the second one was an air ball. The third one was an air ball. And I remember so many people were making fun of him. The fact that he missed, the shot so badly. But what people didn't take into account was the fact that most players in that situation, had they airballed an open shot like that, they would have totally lost the confidence to take that shot again. We already saw what a veteran at the time, Nick Anderson, what happened to him when he missed those 4 consecutive free throws in that finals game. It completely changed his confidence as a basketball player. He was never the same player again after that. Kobe Bryant, as young as he was, that could have ruined him mentally. But all it did was drive him to improve his outside shooting and to become, in some people's eyes, the greatest player of all time. I definitely think he's one of the two greatest shooting guards of all time, one of the top 10 players of all time. If Kobe Bryant sees this in Giannis Antetokounmpo, a player who can, if he works hard, stays healthy, and be consistent, he can be one of the greats of all time. And I have no doubt in my mind that Giannis Antetokounmpo, when everything's said and done, will be a multiple MVP winner. He's the second Milwaukee Buck to win the MVP after, of course, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But I think he can win multiple NBA championships as well. He has the drive, the determination, and the heart to do so. And I see Milwaukee Bucks' future being secure with this guy as a player. Tell me what you got.